Hello, so today I want to talk about something a little bit different. I want to talk about leadership in the Hollywood post-production scene. Unfortunately, this is something that is not really talked about enough, and we really need to. And it's an issue that I'm kind of passionate about because I've been in some leadership positions. I'm by no means perfect, I'm always learning and growing, but I've definitely experienced poor leadership, and there's a lot of it in post production in Hollywood. So, all right, let's start off here. Leadership. All right, this was inspired by a post on Reddit that was from an assistant editor who had worked a full day and then they logged off and they were enjoying their evening, went to bed, woke up in the morning, and found that there was a message on Slack from their executive producer wanting a question answered or to do something. And then their post supervisor got really angry at them and wrote them like a long text. And so the person who was writing in the R editor subreddit asking if they were justified in being annoyed that someone else was angry at them. And pretty much the whole thread agreed. I don't think there was any one person that didn't agree with them. Everybody said, you're right to feel annoyed. You worked a full day. That was within your right to log off and not look at messages after work. And so, some people felt that the post supervisor should have communicated differently. And absolutely, nobody should get angry and yell at the assistant editor for what they did. And so I think it just really shows poor leadership from the post supervisor yelling and getting angry at the assistant editor in this situation. So I will come back to how I think someone should have behaved, how the post supervisor should have behaved as a leader. And but first, I want to talk about like really what is leadership in post production. So a leader is someone who sets standards. They set standards and they set precedents for for vision, for communication, and for creating a safe space for work. Okay? And that's really important, especially in post production. I'll get into each of these in more detail right now. So vision, what do I mean by vision? So a leader with vision is someone who knows the what, the how, the when, why are we doing this thing? And essentially like they use all of this to make a plan. They have a plan. They have a goal. They know where they're going and how they're going to get there and what people need to do. So that's number one. And then communication, all right? So primarily in post-production, it is heavily data-driven. It is a technology-driven, information-packed type of work. So they're communicating info and they're communicating, really importantly, expectations. Especially if you're the head of a department like an editor in scripted or post supervisor in unscripted, you're the head of the department. You need to communicate expectations of everyone. That could be work hours. I would say ideally in post production, as long as everybody is getting the information communicated and the work is getting done, People need to have the flexibility to work the hours that work best for them, but that's part of the expectations, you know? As a post supervisor, you can say, I expect that every morning you send a to-do list of what you're going to work on, and every evening you send an email that says what you completed that day. Sorry, I don't normally talk too fast, and I'm fumbling. So yeah, you know, it's about communicating expectations, quality standards. You know, what should the assistant editor be held to, the quality be held to when they're doing their work. And then the most important thing is creating a safe space for work. You know, unfortunately, post-production has done a really, really terrible job at creating a safe space for people that are different. Trans, gay, older people, people with disabilities, Republicans. Doesn't matter who you are, whether you're liberal, whether you're anarchist, whether you're non-gender conforming, doesn't matter, you know? Like, we need to create an inclusive, welcoming, and safe space for people to work. You know, it's so funny, like, Hollywood tries to be this industry that's, like, very open-minded of new progressive ideas, and yet the sets and post are not all that progressive. It tends to be a lot of white men. That's me. Although I do have a disability, I wear hearing aids in both ears, but a lot of people don't see that, so they just see me as a white male. But we need to do a better job of making safe space for people to work, because let's see, where are my notes? I'm looking here for my notes. Okay, we need people to feel confident. Feel confident. If people don't feel confident in their ability to do their job, their performance is going to tank. So if you feel confident, trust each other. I've been micromanaged before. It sucks. Feeling like people don't trust me and they have to like sit behind me. I once worked on a show at Refinery 29, and there was a post supervisor who sat next to me. She watched me try to Frankenbite something. I'm the assistant editor. I'm not an editor. I've never done Frankenbiting before. And about 10 minutes of me, you know, trying to figure out how do I actually do this in Premiere, she turns to me and she says, "Do you even know how to use Premiere?" That is not leadership. That is being an asshole. Sorry, but I'm just gonna say it. Don't be an asshole. Be a leader. Be someone who creates a safe space for people. Okay? Let me move this. We want a safe space to help people grow. People can't grow unless they have the space to make mistakes. All right, I grew up playing ice hockey. I had a coach that told me that if you're not falling down, you're not trying hard enough. Hollywood is known as having the best talent in the world, especially for post-production. Now that is changing recently, but by and large, Hollywood historically has been known in post-production as having the best talent. And you can't be the best unless you are allowed to fail and allowed to learn and allowed to grow. A leader is going to create that space to allow people to grow and become the best version of themselves that they can be. All right? So when you have someone who's never done your job sitting behind you saying, do you even know how to use the software that I hired you to use? Fuck that shit. All right? I've had it. I've had it with that shit. And I got yelled at like 2 other times by other people working on that show. Fuck that shit. All right, so this is all what being a leader is, all right? Having a vision, communicating, and creating a safe space. So let's go back to that post. I'll wrap this up real quick. So the post supervisor in this situation, number 1, should have reached out to the executive producer and said, hey, is this really critical right now? Can it wait until the morning? I would say 9 times out of 10, the executive producer is going to say, yeah, sure, it can wait until the morning. Don't need to bother the assistant editor. And then everybody's happy, all right? Everybody's happy. The assistant editor can have their evening off, come in the morning refreshed. They never knew there was an issue. And their confidence isn't tanked because someone got angry at them. And the assistant editor said that they are young. You know, the worst thing that you can do is tank a young person's confidence, all right? Especially in this kind of industry. So let's say the executive producer did say that it is critical, all right? Number 1, post supervisor should not get angry at all. Just say, just reach out to the assistant editor and say, hey, I'm very sorry. Can you please log on to Slack and check the message from the executive producer and answer their question? We'll pay you extra for the time that it takes. That is respecting the assistant editor's time. That is respecting their expertise, respecting their skills. And that is the right thing to do. Pay the assistant editor for the extra time it takes to work after hours. Okay? And then like that's it. And the other thing, the last point that I will make is that as an assistant editor, I do believe it is within your right to say no. It is after work. I worked a full day. I need my time to rest. I can deal with it in the morning. All right? Because I believe that at every level, and I don't like saying that editors are a lower level, that assistant editors are a lower level than editors. I think that is bullshit. We need to change that mindset and say that, especially in unscripted, editors and assistant editors are equal. And I would say that assistant editors in unscripted have more responsibility than editors do and should get paid more than editors do because of the technical knowledge, the social skills that they need, the soft skills of managing communication, managing hot tempers, the amount of communication, the email and the Slacks and the text messages and the carrier pigeon messages and the smoke signals, all of that. Like, it is a lot. Assistant editors deserve to get paid more. They deserve to also say and set boundaries and say, no, it is after work hours, I'm not working extra. And it is up to the team, everybody, top, down, middle, to respect those hours and communicate their needs within those hours. And when it's not, when it's after hours, like, too bad. Like, you didn't respect that person's time. So, leadership comes from every position that it's not a title. There's no like lead such and such or senior such and such. Like, if you are a post-production assistant fresh out of college and you can be a leader. You can set standards. That's really what being a leader is, setting standards. So yeah, that's my soapbox. Everybody is a leader, and we need to do a much better job of leadership in post-production. All right. Thank you for listening. Do let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. I hope we can do our part to improve the working conditions in post-production in Hollywood, because it's getting a bit nutty, and I've had it. All right, take care.